We have to look at who is responsible for the death. And the responsible is only Hamas.
Here's a question to you. 143 Palestinians at least, and the count keeps changing because Israelis keep killing more, have died since March the 30th, since the beginning of the so-called Great March of Return. 15,000 Palestinians, let's just be clear, 15,000 have been wounded. 4,000 of them, according to the United Nations, were shot with live ammunition. Are you telling the Oxford Union audience here, the audience at home, that those 15,000 people were all members of Hamas? Seriously?
Mehdi, I can look at anyone here in their eyes and say, Israel is doing its level best not to kill anyone who is not involved. It's very important to know who is responsible here, because...
Is it not the responsibility of the people pulling the trigger? That's normally how you hold people responsible for someone being killed.
Well, how do you define pulling the trigger? If you have the Hamas people...
A man with a gun aims at a child from 150 meters away and shoots him in the head.
What about Palestinian terrorists who are hiding behind innocent people, who are launching rockets?
Well, it's a simple question. 15,000 wounded. How many of them were either members of Hamas/terrorists?
I do not know. I know that from the 62 on the 14th of May, 50 were Hamas by their own admission.
No, we don't know that because there hasn't been an investigation.
The facts are...
You got their Hamas membership forms from their bodies?
What's the facts? The facts are that Hamas leadership, sometimes at gunpoint, are sending those poor those poor Gazan people to the borders. Now,
where's the evidence for that?
They have in the borders?
The UN doesn't say that. Human rights groups don't say that.
Well,
let's come back to the issue of the shootings here. Even if they were all members of Hamas, even if all 15,000 people are, you do realize that under international law and basic morality, you can't shoot people for being members of a group, no matter what group it is. You can only shoot them when they pose an imminent threat to you. Were 15,000 people posing an imminent threat to Israeli snipers?
Yes, they were. Yes, they were. And I'll tell you how. First of all, not to the Israeli snipers, but certainly to the Israeli kids and babies and women and men who live in their own territory. Hamas is sending their people. It's not just demonstration.
Countless Palestinians at the protests have been interviewed and they said we weren't sent by Hamas.
Just go into the blogs.
But they're all liars, are they?
Just go into the blogs of Hamas, where they say the Jews are sons of pigs and sons of dogs.
And you're now quoting them as a reliable source. That's my favorite. I've interviewed so many Israelis. You're the first to come here and say, my source is Hamas.
Of course it is.
In 10 years of doing this.
Of course it is.
Wow.
Because all you have to do is to see what they say.
Well, no, how about we look at some facts rather than your kind of dodgy blogs?